Okay, in this assignment, we have to find area. And in this particular one, we have to find, on number one, we have to find x first before we can find the area. And the way we're going to find x is we're going to use Pythagorean's theorem. So if you remember Pythagorean's theorem, that is the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in this case, x is going to be my a squared plus 40 is my b squared equals 41 squared, which is my c squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and solve for x, which means I got to subtract that 40 squared from both sides. And then once I do that, I'm going to take the square root of both sides, because the last thing that's what we normally do is take. So that I end up with this. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this part, that square root part, into my calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my Desmos, which is, where is my Desmos? And I'm going to plug in my square root. Oop. Let's go ahead and clear off. I'm going to do my square root. I'm going to put my 41 squared minus 40 squared, and I get 9. So then I'll get 9 right here. That means my x is equal to 9. That's number 1. Now to get number 2, I'm going to go ahead and do my, remember, if you guys remember, finding area, that is, I'm going to go ahead and erase this so I have a little bit more room. So to find the area, if you remember, area is equal to the length times the width. Well, I found 9 down here, right? So basically it's going to be 40 times 9, which is 360 units squared. So that's number 2, 360 units squared. Okay, so now I'm going to move to number 3. On number 3, we have a square, and they give me the perimeter. So what we got to remember is that on a square, all the sides are the same, right? So if my perimeter is 60, that means in order to find one side, it's going to be the 60 divided by 4. And then I'll go ahead and plug that into my calculator. So I'll go ahead and clear that, and I'll do my 60 divided by 4, and I get 15. So I'll come over here. I know that's 15. That means that the sides are all 15. And then remember to find area. Area is equal to the length times the width. Base times height is also the other one. So base times height, and they happen to be both the same number. So 15 times 15 will be 225. So I get 225 units squared. Then I'm going to move to number 4. Now in a parallelogram, it's still going to be base times the height, but we don't really have the height. Base is given. I know my base is 8. But my height is going to be h, which is that red line I just drew. So that's going to be my height. Now to find that, we have to use our special right triangles. This guy is at 30, 60, 90. So to find H, I have to do my 30, 60, 90 first. Now, once I get my little hashtag set up, I look at what's given, and I know that across from the 90 is 6, which means that on the, I'm going to put my 6 right there. I have to divide this by 2 to get x. So that means my x is 3, which means this little guy right here is 3. Now my height is this x just has to go in the place of that x. So I'm just going to go 3 square root of 3. And that is my height. So you know the square root of 3 is going to be part of the answer. So now I'm going to find my area. I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Okay, so once I get that out of the way, I'm going to write down the formula for this, which is now I'm going to use base times height. Very similar to the length times the width, but we really don't have a length, that it's that height. And we found that on number 4. My base is 8. So on this one, I'm going to do 8 times 3 square root of 3. Now square root of 3, I'm going to leave that alone. That's part of the answer. So I'm going to write that guy right there. So the only thing I have to do is my 8 times 3, and that is 24. So my area is going to be 24 square root of 3 units squared. Okay, so we did 1 through 5. Now, number 6 is a triangle. So let's go ahead and go to this one, and there it is. Now the area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. This one here is pretty straightforward. The base given is going to be 24. So there's my base. And the height of it is 18. So basically I'm going to plug that into my calculator and I'll get it. So my base is 24. So it's going to be 24 times 18 divided by 2. I'm going to go to my calculator, set up my fraction. So on the top, I'm going to have 24 times 18, and then on the bottom, 2, and I get 216. So my answer is 216 square foot. So be 216 feet squared. And that finishes 7.7a.